Alright, seeing this is a bigger kit, a bit more involved, being a medium bomber, I'll be doing my normal of a bit of preparation work, sub-assemblies, and then come back to the more fiddly bits like the cockpit. So I've started with the engines, or I've done one side because I wanted to show couple of things. So the parts for the engines are the same, it doesn't matter, they're not handed, they're actually keyed so that, oh that's a tight fit, that one. They've got grooves, so you got grooves inside there which lines up with the raised section on there, and the other one is grooved as well. And the other thing you got to make sure is the when you look at the images, the top of the cylinders, you can see one end is a bit more narrower than the other, and going by their image, the narrower side faces forward on both cylinder radials. So as long as you face them the right way, they'll fit into the keyed sections. That is also got what was that one? A tiny bit of a notch in it that lines it up as well. And when it goes into the cowl, when you look at the image of the cowl, if you follow the cowl around, you can see a little that'd be exhaust, I guess, would it be? The little ports on the side of it. Not sure, but anyway, there's one area, there's a gap. That's the top. And when you put the engine in, there's a you got notches in this section, and that will sit in there. So you just make sure that the, going by your image, that's the top of your engine, and then that all lines up because I've tried it. And the cowl flaps, same again, there's a notch, they can only go in one spot. So that's pretty straightforward. I didn't cut the other one off yet because I want to show. So that part, the casing on the front, the injection ports where the injection, the plastic goes in, is in between those little bits, so that's a bit hard to clean up. That one, you'll be a bit careful you don't damage the other details around there, which should be there. So you got to remove, there's two bits there that are a bit hard to get off. And the cylinders, the radial cylinders are the usual, everyone does it, where the molds come together, there's a bit of, you can see the seam, the join that you need to clean up. And the cowl has got really big sprue gates, and the way they've got it molded, it's hard to come in with, you probably come in that way, but you might get on an angle and damage it. I just use a razor saw and cut them that way. Just make sure I don't damage the part. Okay, so this is your nacelle, landing gear, engine area for this. I've cut the parts off of the right wing, glued that together, so that's all flush. But when you look at the front, you can see that there's just way out. No, they don't line up. You can't line them up. If you'd line them up, that'll be all out. So I don't know what's going on there. And the part that sits on the front, F4 was this one. Fortunately, I was thinking, well, that's not going to fit, but it does. But the thing is, you can see that's real loose fit. So before gluing that, I'd be checking it out, how it's supposed to sit on the wing. I haven't glued the wing yet, but that'll help line up. And then you can see where it's got to sit. Well, there's a bit of you can see when I move that, there's a gap. It'll need putty. This kit, you have the option if you want to do it in flight. Mr. Chris Becker for you. You can just put the gear door shut, and then all you're doing is trimming the tabs off. It's not a different part or anything. I don't get from the images that the other door was molded shut, but I don't know how that can close without hitting the other side. Don't look right to me, but anyway. This is the wing that I will need to cut the tip off to put the radar on, which is a resin addition to this boxing of the kit. I will cut them, pull it apart and do that. You get nice big positive locations come together, even though that one's got a bit of a short shot there. It doesn't matter, it fitted, I've tried it. So it's just painting the engine. Well, we got 1, 2, 3, 5 colours going on there, which seems a bit much, but C. Yeah. So I'll paint it separate anyway, but it's very busy with the paint callouts. Alright, that was the other thing. When you put these together, I don't get the you got recessed rivets, but on the underside here where they join, it's like, I don't know, it looks like lines, and they're not rivets, they're like cut marks or something. I don't know if it must be meant to be like that. It almost looks like sewing stitching or something. So that'll be hard to, or not hard, I guess, to when I clean up the seam joint. I'll probably have to come in with a blade. Let's put that and just score it again, I'm guessing. And so the engines aren't handed, but the cells are, because of the way they're angled. So you got one sprue, which is your right wing, and then that's the left wing. So I'll finish putting this wing together. Alright, the wing is together, the two halves. I've put the radar on. You don't really need to clean it up. I just gave it a really light sand on the edge that meets the wing. Fits well. It's resin, so you need to CA glue it. You can't use your normal glue. So there's an insert there, if that's a radiator or some sort of cooling part. They've made a mistake. So you got the interior of that light. Here they've got F5. It's not F5, it's L5. It's on the, obviously it's a clear part, so it's on the clear sprue. And there's the one for the other wing, L4, L5, so it's L. So they got that wrong, because I'm looking at F sprue, which is, this one. And it's just not on there, so I had to search elsewhere. I'll put the clear lens on soon. I've cleaned up the seam joins, so I've painted up. You can't hardly see anything anyway, so I wouldn't worry about too much the rear of the engine. I'd painted a lot, but so I've just painted it as per the front piece. I've painted what they've called out for, which was Tamiya XF77, a grey. I don't know if that's correct or not. I'm just going with what they said. I always thought they were like a greyish blue colour, but it depends on the engine and the aircraft then, I suppose. Alright, so that's that. I need this out the way. Come on. So you got inserts that plug in to cover up the internal of the plastic there. So I've put, so that's D11, D6 is already covered up. I put in D19, the other part that covers it up. So they've got details there, but you're covering it up, you won't see it. So they could have saved some time. Just made it one part, but anyway, that'll go on there. So that's over here. You've got choice of the flap to be neutral or lowered, extended. I'm going to do it that way. You've heard me mention many times it adds interest to a model sitting on a table with the control surfaces extended, visually appealing. Whether or not it was naturally like that parked, I don't know or care really. I just do it for the look. So that's the flap. It's two halves. I didn't glue it yet because I wanted to show you it's got ejection pin marks that are raised, which are fouling it from going together. So you need to clean. You can see there, the gap. So you gotta, well, I have to clean that up. Other kits may not suffer that. So you're really seeing bugger all in there, but I still painted aluminium, which is what they called out for. Gear leg is two parts, so you glue that on there, and it's a nice keyed leg, so it can only go one way, and it's a really nice firm fit into there. It will require glue though, because you can come out. You have to glue this in first before you put the nacelle on, because you won't be able to get it in afterwards. And they do alert you here in the instructions, tell you to do it that way. And that looks like it'll be a good fit. It's probably going to need maybe a bit of, just a smidge of putty along that panel where the panels meet there, I would say. And the wheels are also, the wheels are handed, as in the instructions I'll call for steps. So you got step 34, the two halves go together. You've got weight on wheels, so they can only, well, you can glue them the wrong way around, so be mindful to glue the weight on wheels the same way. And if you come to the next page when it's all coming together, so that's step 34, so that's the right wheel. So that, but they're keyed. I'm guessing that they'll only work one way. I would imagine. Right wheel. Oh no, you can them the same way, but I'll stick with what they're saying. I'm sure there's a reason. And I'm just building this out of the box. I've got another one of these kits, just one of the other versions. I'm doing a Royal Australian Air Force B25, and for that kit I've bought a whole heap of aftermarket wheels and engines and whatnot, so this is just out of the box. I'm going to work with this. You can see they've moulded how they've moulded it. It's sort of, the tread fades as it comes from the sides to the top, so that'll work in with when I clean the that seam joint up. You'll lose a bit of tread, which is where the tyre would wear anyway, but personally I prefer one piece resin wheels, but for this build I'll use what is supplied in the kit. So that's a look at what you're in for on the engines and the wings. I'll continue on now, complete this wing, make the other wing and the other engine, and then we'll look at what's next. Alright, I've got both the wings together. So this is the left wing. The lenses for the lights are not perfect fit, so they're going to need a bit of putty around them. I've glued them in crystal clear. When that's properly set, I'll put some putty just to fill in the gap, bit of gap towards the back of them. They don't really fit the shape. Yeah, I've tried them all ways round to try and get it better, but that's the best I could get. I've got the tail section together. You can see it's all loose, so everything's, except for the rudder, everything's two halves. It all fit together pretty good. It's actually very firm fit, so I'll keep that. I'll paint it, be easy to paint off, and then I'll put it together when it's painted properly. You can put a bit of movement on the horizontal stabilizer surface, but because it's square and that's rounded, you don't get much before it opens up too much, and you can see there's no proper detail there. I might just put a touch of droop on them, and the rudders you can move a little bit as well if you wanted to. So that's, I still got to clean up the seam joins on that. I was just moving along after I finished the wings. So with your wings on this kit, they've got a really good keyed fit to the wing, nice solid. Push it on, push it back, so push it in, slide it back, and it locks in, so you shouldn't even really need to glue it. No gap. Very nice. Great idea for painting, especially with bombers. You got that big nacelle, you can't get at it properly if it's all in one piece. I think I mentioned when I did the review about how they've cut the sprue gate off. They've done it pretty roughly. Some of it they've damaged the actual detail of the model, which is a bit unfortunate. In a big hurry to clean them up and bag them. Would have been better if they just cut them and left a centimetre or half centimetre or whatever on there and let the modeler clean it up, because I would prefer to take my time and clean it properly than have to deal with that, but that's how it is, so I can't do anything about that. I got the parts for the bomb bay. So you build the bomb bay, paint it up, put your bombs in, create the bomb bay as its own little model, and then it just plugs into your fuselage at that later stage. So I've made the bombs up. I've got to clean them yet. I've glued them, but I haven't cleaned them. not going to worry about yellow bands or anything, because you're not on my one. You won't see it because it'll be sitting on a shelf. But or anyone, you'd have to tip it upside down to see it, unless you display your model with a mirror underneath. And there's photo etch piece there. Well, that area, you just need to bend it. It fits all right, so there's no issue there. So the I haven't done a dry fit because it won't. I don't think it'll hold together that way. That was the front. Yeah, anyway, aluminium, I think, is the colour call out for it. Yes, so I'll just be doing what they've called out for. Hopefully that is correct. Yeah, so I'll clean them up first and paint them. I don't even think there's decals for the bombs or anything either. By the looks of that, there's nothing mentioned there. But like I said, now I can really see them. Alright, it's all painted up in the bomb bay. So I've painted the bombs olive drab, like I said. I'm not worrying about yellow bands because I'm not going to see it on mine. The bomb bay is painted with AK Extreme Metal Aluminium, and it's had a clear coat with gauzy, AK gauzy, and I've used an enamel wash for weathering in there to make it look dirty. So they're all glued together. It's all good fit, nice big positive locating tabs. That one will come on. Yep. So that'll be good to go, and then it comes into, so it just plugs. Hang on. That way. Something else going on. Oh, okay. There you go. Oh, that's good. So you got a, I'll forget. That locating hole there is for that, so you can't really get it wrong. It aligns it for you, which is good. So the interior is the zinc chromate colour. The call out's the Tamiya XF4, so it's the real yellowy green, the real proper zinc chromate colour, I guess. And even though here they say paint that the aluminium, but I don't see the point because you don't see it. That's aluminium. That doesn't need to be aluminium. In my books, I'm painting the whole thing the zinc chromate, except for here in the cockpit is a different green. They're calling out for, what did they say? Dull dark green, which in Tamiya terms is XF26. What's that look like? Yeah, I think I've got a set of US World War II interior green colours. There's like 4 different greens, and I thought that looks similar to one of them, so I'll check that out before I use that. Okay, so I'm just having a look at you got the machine guns. So the barrel will just plug in, so it's got a nice, it's probably about, I don't know, 3-4 mil goes into there, which is good. So it's not just butting onto it, it actually goes into it. I was sort of thinking, well, can I add these later, because the window inserts there, and you got hang on, I'm doing the right one here. The wrong side. This side. So the window fits good. That's not a problem. I'm just sort of, I don't want the gun in yet because obviously you don't want to break the barrel by handling it too much. So then the leather cover on the gun sits there. This is a bit awkward because it's going to want to fall out, and then the barrel goes through there obviously, and then it sits in there. I think it's too many working parts and tight fit to put it in later, because no, maybe not. You sort of want it needs to sit there. That's the support. There's not really a lot going on there, and it's not a full hole, circle hole, sort of just a semicircle. If it was a full hole, it would be easier to line up, I guess, and keep it in position, because otherwise you have to put that in. That's not right. That way. I think, no, that way. Yeah, it's a bit fiddly. That doesn't want to sit in there. Yeah, I'm undecided anyway. What I'll do is I'll glue that in there properly, and then try pushing the gun in, and then see if I can sit that whole window with the gun in there. But I don't think so. I think it's going to be too hard to line up that mount to there. And the other option is you could leave the barrel off and push it in later, but because of that is the exact diameter of the gun barrel. You haven't got any play, so the actual gun would need to be exactly in the correct spot, otherwise it won't line up. So I think might be a bit too difficult. Anyway, I'll see what happens when I get there. Alright, interior is painted. The olive drab parts were added after I painted them. I've used what they've called out for, so this is the correct colour call outs for AK Real Colour. So the rear part is US interior yellow green, Real Colour 262. Originally I thought it was going to be zinc chromate, which is, when I said a yellow colour, that's that one, but it's not, it's this one. The front is dull dark green, which is, I mentioned earlier, FS 34092, and it's Real Colour 230. For the rear part, if you wanted to use, they call out for Tamiya XF4 mixed with a bit of black. So that's more like that. So for me, that's way off. And Mr. Hobby do, I can't read it, you can see it's leaked. That's Mr. Hobby's chromate colour, or it's interior green colour. This has changed. Years ago, they had the same paint number, same colour, and it was a different shade, and it looked more like this. And then they've changed it along the line, and it was this. I never use it anymore. I think that's bloody awful. Anyway, so that's the correct colours if you want to use AK Real Colour. Don't forget to paint. You'll have to paint in the top of the tail there, because when it goes in, you'll be able to see that bit. So I've got to paint it in that yellow green. Alright, cockpit getting together. I just bump that. So it's aluminium floor, masked off. That's got that green panels on the floor, and the yokes are olive drab with black, and the seats are that green. The harnesses come with the kit, so it's good you've got harnesses, but I don't know. I don't like photo etch at the best times, but to me they seem too big. They seem to travel too far over the back, and maybe they're correct, I don't know, but the buckles don't look too big to me, but they might be alright. But at least you're getting them in the kit, so it's something. This one. So my little experiment with the gun in the window works. So I sat once I glued the grey styrene into the clear part, I have to clean that window. I've got my smudgy fingerprints all over it. And that dried, so I put the barrel in the gun, pushed the gun through, sat it in its position, glued it to that leather cover, and then glued it to the actual gun. Let it dry, and then you can lift it out and sit it in. That just makes it so much easier for painting. Well, not easy enough to paint, I guess, but bumping that barrel and breaking it, which I'm be inclined to do, I'm sure. This is a link for the tail section, maybe. I can't remember now, or is it? No, it might be the. I'll move that turret. Let's see, for the turret area, it's too tall for the. Yeah, I've got to make up the tail section, so that's for the turret here, right? That's just same colours with the leather seat. I still need to put the bulkhead on the back of the cockpit. I'm sort of letting them dry. Seats, I think, are a bit wrong as well. Pictures here, they sit into where they're supposed to, but then the front part of the seat looks like it's supposed to touch the floor, the deck, but they don't. If you want them to touch, they'll be leaning forward on a stupid angle. It does not work. So they're only sitting just on the posts at the back, not the ones in front of them. And I've just used a kit decal for the instrument panel. I've just literally put that on there, so it's still drying with the solution. That's one decal. I've cut it into 4 pieces, just easier to line up, and it's easier using small parts of decal. And I've lined them up into the bezels. Hopefully they're all squared away, and that solution's working. So I'll let that dry, and then I can glue that on and glue no, I got to do the rear part. And this is the nose weight that comes with the kit. I don't know how much it is. I don't need to know the weight because it comes with the kit. It's which way did it go? That way. It'll just sit in there like that. Probably don't have to glue it, but I'll glue it. But it's got posts line up the holes. That's just magnificent. Only everyone supplied nose weights for their kits. I can't imagine you'll need more because that's extremely heavy. So I'm just going this time with what they recommend. So I've got to paint in that the yellow green, and I'll need to make up that rear part. the rear gunner's deck. And once that's done, then I can look at gluing it up. And I need to add, you have to put the nose gear in before you put the fuselage halves together, so I need to get that out and paint it. It doesn't look like it's too much there to do, so it should be alright. Alright, I've got the interior is all good to go, glued in, done the tail piece with the guns. I've given it a wash, so you can see it's really grubby looking. For my guns, I paint them, well, not all the time, but a lot of the time. Oh, let me grab it. It's Vallejo Model Air, but I hand brush it. Depending on the size of the gun, sometimes I airbrush it, but those ones I just hand painted it because I painted the interior green and then painted the guns hand black, but it's metallic black. So I quite like the sheen it gives off, like it says, I guess, metallic black. But I like it on guns anyway. So that's, I just need to put in the, let me grab that nose gear. So if you flipped it upside down and looked in, that metal nose weight, you'll see that as part of your gear bay. So I've airbrushed it, I've primed it black and sprayed it aluminium. So that's gonna plug in there. So really the reason why that has to go in now is because that bit at the back. It's a bit floppy, that, isn't it? That's better. Anyway, that can go in. Now the proof of how it all fitted. Click, that's always a good sound. Alright, that's all good. About the bottom. Yes. Yes. Something here is not right. Will it? Oh no, it'll be right. It's just got a clamp in, so it all fits. I'll do it in stages anyway. I usually do on all models because I just like to get the best fit for the area I'm gluing at the time. So that's good to go. So that that off a minute before I glue that. I don't want to break it. That nose weight is extremely heavy. So that was all the rear gun deck. I haven't put the barrels on yet. I'll wait till I start fitting the end, the leather bag, whatever they call them, on the end of it. For the wash, I just use a dark wash. Use whatever you fancy, and as you know, most of that's not going to be seen anyway, unless you can look through the windows where the gunners stand and the bubble on the tail. You can see a little bit, possibly tiny bit through the turret and a little bit in the cockpit. I don't even think. Oh, you might see the instrument panel. It's back a fair way on it, so. And so yeah, that's my next step. Glue that up. Then I can glue the tail on because I've already built that. And then